Yeah, baby. Welcome to the Dynasty Hot Sauce Podcast, Saturday night edition, live YouTube. And I am your host, and you can find me on Twitter at FF Larry Monkey. And I'm here with Mr. Run DFF himself, Justin Rogers. How are you doing?
Yo. I'm good. So I'm just over here packing my house up. Everything is going through on this house sale, and I can finally relax from doing all the work around the house and just have a few beers and talk football and not be so stressed out. So
that's right. So, I mean, what a great night. Number one, I have power for the very first time since Tuesday. So that's unbelievable. So there you go. Cheers to that. Yeah, we got hit with a big giant hurricane, and we were supposed to have this amazing guest on Tuesday. And this hurricane hit, and boom, power goes out. And then it was like, okay, maybe it'll come on. It just never came on, and it actually never came on again until this morning. And it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So unbelievably, we were just like, all right, we have this great guest. Let's figure it out. When, what are you doing next week? I don't know, this and that. I'm busy on Saturday, or this is going on, that's going on. And all of a sudden it was like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I'm in. And we got Kacey Kasem with us. I'm ecstatic for a number of reasons, and we'll get into some of those. But how are you doing? You just gave blood. What's going on? I mean, let's
I'm doing good. I was sleeping for a nice portion of the day after. So yeah, we did give blood this morning, and never have I ever had this happen before, but it was one of those situations where I didn't eat before I gave blood and basically thought I was going to pass out and vomit into my mask. So that was fun. I got home and just slept.
Nice. A mask vomit. I've never, you know what? This whole mask thing is relatively new, obviously, to pretty much everybody. I never even considered the throw-up mask.
You're going to get nauseous and you don't have time. You're like, oh, God.
It could actually be beneficial because it'll save you from, I guess, ruining somebody else's day.
I was going to say, I was definitely at a baseball game one time and trying to slam beer and peanuts, and was definitely trying to hold back some upchuck one time, and might have hit a couple. That would have worked great. So poor people.
So I mean, real quick, I just want to. I haven't had too much interaction with Kacey, but we do have something. There is a bond between us that I have, and that started last year, leading up to Scott Fishbowl 9. It was. I mean, you did this. It wasn't even 3. You marked it. It was initially a 3-hour freestyle, and then you decided to take it like an extra hour, like the first 20 minutes. And I was watching this, and it was on YouTube, just like we are now. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know how the hell she's going to do this for 3 hours. I'm like pounding drinks the whole time, and there's like your peeps are in the background just doing like their own thing.
Yeah, they're just hanging out at the house.
You're in like the living room going like, just taking care of business. And you get, I mean, I don't know, how are you able to pull that off?
I don't know. I have no idea. So that time was like, I don't know. I've never done that long of anything, probably, in one consecutive time. But yeah, I don't know how I pulled it off. Once you start drinking, I guess you get a couple in you, then time goes by a little faster.
Right. And you were so Scott Fish is like popping in and out, and he gives you a, here's Scott Fish is always giving out like Fishbowl invites, and you're in the middle of your freestyle, and I'm just catching this. And you're like, all right, Scott Fish just gave me an invite. Who wants it? And I'm just like, holy shit, man. I'm like one of 3 viewers right now. And I'm like,
your odds are pretty good.
Boom. Next thing I'm in the fishbowl, and it was amazing. So you'll always have a place in my heart just for, and I tuned in for most of that, and I couldn't believe it. And then after the 3 hours, and you blew out, you were trying to raise like $500. You raised almost double that, I think, for Fantasy Cares. and you just I think you went like an extra hour too on top of that.
Yeah, I think it was close to it might have been 34. I don't know. I was like, if we get this much more, then I'll keep going. And so someone would donate a little to get it over that, and then I just keep, so. But it was real cool that Scott came in and let me give out one of those spots, because that's how I originally got into the Scott Fishbowl. Was Her Fantasy Football was doing a thing with their podcast, and where you commented, rated, and everything, and I won that spot, so I knew how cool it was. I know Brandon and they were really excited about being able to give one out. So when Scott told me I could, I was like, yeah.
Okay, so well, actually, that makes 3 of us, because during the podathon this year, Scott was in the chat, and he's like, "Who's not in the Scott Fishbowl?" And so I put my name in there, whatever, and he did a drawing, and like 3 of us got in, and boom, hey, I was in the Scott Fishbowl. Awesome. And of course, this was like 4 hours before Larry and I go on, and I thought for sure I was going to be like, the only guy in the podathon that wasn't in the Scott Fishbowl. I didn't even get to play that card. So yeah, we all got it through like random drawing or, whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
So you have a T-shirt out there, right? Kacey? So how did that come about? Where'd that come from?
Oh man, Russ. So Dynasty Outhouse. He's the one who put it all together, and because he deals with those FF pod shirts for his podcasting peeps. They have a bunch of shirts over there. So we were in. I think it was on Open Bar. Was it on Open Bar? It was either on Open Bar or Dynasty Game Night. Man, that's how my brain is. I'm pretty sure it was Open Bar. And but he said something about me having a T-shirt, or I said something about how I wish I was cool enough to have a T-shirt, because all these podcasts get to have T-shirts. And then the next day it was like,
you know what? Well, it just so happens that somebody's knocking on the door right now. I wonder who it is. Oh my goodness!
Hello.
Hey.
Surprise!
And it was in fact that you said, "Man, I wish I was cool enough to have a T-shirt," and I said, "You are rad as hell, and I'm going to make you a T-shirt." So I went.
See, I missed out on some of the stuff with the old alcohol in the system, but I knew the gist.
All right, so welcome
awesome.
to Dynasty Outhouse. All right, man. Way to just drop in, and thanks for joining. We've been trying to get you on the show, but this is a whole nother conversation. There's so many great personalities out there that, me and Justin are talking, let's get this one, let's get that one. And then next thing you know, it's like you could just plan it into next year. There's so many great people to talk to. And both guys,
did you come on this just so you could show off that sexy knee?
This is my podcasting pose. Like this is right here. That's the main attraction.
That's the main attraction.
You gotta get a Sharpie and put make a face on that knee or something, man. You could be like a ventriloquist type of thing, possibly.
I was talking football helmets or something.
Oh, he's got his own brand right now.
The next time I'm on Trade Addicts, I expect something cool like that. I'm just saying.
All right, now I have to think. I have to have something stupid in this freaking basement with all my kids down here.
So I do have a quick question for Outhouse, because we both live in New Jersey. How long did you lose power?
15 hours.
That's better than 3 days.
Yeah, no, it was about noon, and then I got it back at got woken up at 5 a.m. with beeps and fire detectors letting us know that they're alive again.
All right, wonderful.
That's the worst. We had the power go out. We had the power go out at our place. I think someone ran into a light pole or whatever. And literally 4:30 in the morning, all the lights in the house popped on, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, what the hell?"
Yep.
Of course, it was 9 million degrees in our house, so we were happy that it.
That's one lesson I did learn. I've learned to turn off light switches when you lose power, because I have fallen victim to that many, many times where I'm in a nice, good sleep, and all of a sudden lights, and it's just nope. All right, I'm up now. All right.
Bunch of gremlins running around trying to turn the lights off.
Yeah, no, it was terrible. I got power back this morning. After Tuesday, so that was a number of days just hanging. I ran and got a generator from Home Depot, and that helped out the fridge, the 2 refrigerators, and I had a fan at nighttime. So whatever, man.
I'm honestly shocked you could get one. I'm shocked they weren't sold out.
I went to like the 5th Home Depot.
Yeah.
Like that was in like
4 hours to the west.
side of the radius. Yeah. I was I was there at 7:30 in the morning.
You were in there like central Pennsylvania. Is that where you were?
Almost, man. A town called Watchung.
It's
I'm
crazy to hear all
this
this.
week.
It's crazy to hear all this stuff because I don't have to deal with any of that. So
Casey,
I mean, I know
where
what
you at?
power going out is like, but I don't know.
Not for days at a time. Where are you at?
I'm north of Dallas, so about 30
Okay.
minutes north of Dallas in a town called McKinney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
Ronald
Also,
Jones.
losing power is so much easier without children.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is.
No, yeah, for real. No shit. That's
I don't
like
have
a
kids,
different
so I
world.
don't know, but I'm just gonna go ahead and
Just
put it out
assume
there. But
yes.
I'm pretty sure that.
Well, I'm from like Hurricane Alley down in Mississippi, so
Oh, okay.
I'm so used to it. Like I was telling
Yeah.
Larry, we were without power when I was a junior in high school for like a week, and without
Jeez.
AC for another 10 days after that. I mean, it was like, good gosh, here we go. So,
Nice. So I want to address something that that no one wants to. I mean, it just sucks. Everything that's been going on online with this whole Bobby Sylvester stuff. I luckily never heard of the guy before, but apparently he's a big Fantasy Pros guy, and he did some dumb stuff on Twitter, and he got called out for it. I am really proud to have Kacey with us tonight, just because, I mean, women should be in charge of things. Like, men have had their shot. Women should just run things. Women should just be in charge of everything. I don't understand why they're not at this point. We've failed on too many occasions, and it's pretty disgusting. But and I know that a lot of the women have to deal with a lot of bullshit online with trolls and stuff like that. And I know, Kacey, you've probably had your fair share of BS come your way. How do you deal with that stuff? I mean, is there different feelings towards whatever time of day it might be, or is it just like, these guys or these people are just terrible, or do you delete them? Because your DMs are open.
Yeah.
So I mean, is that on purpose? I mean, do you want to see the ugly in people that come at you, or because some people have their DMs open,
Yeah, they haven't been open. Like I've been on Twitter for a really long time, and I just recently opened them, probably in the last year or two. And sometimes I turn them off just because, like, it's not even people getting in there and saying mean things. It's just like a bunch of nonsense you have to go through to like find the one person you actually want to talk to. But I mean, I'm not worried about what somebody on the internet's going to say about me, or because that's the big thing that happens in my case when it comes to like these trolls or whatever. It's you're an it, a lot of it is you're dumb, but I see that a lot for like dudes as well, get that kind of stuff. So when it happens to me, cool. But when it happens to me and they want to throw a sweetheart, honey, you're a woman, this, that, and the other kind of thing, it's like, hold on, bro.
Yeah.
If I was an egg and you didn't see my picture, you didn't even know who I am. Like, I'm talking about my wife for all you know, so that kind of stuff. And it always does. It does with having your DMs open. So it goes to a separate folder or whatever, right? So you can go in and like choose what you want to see and choose to let the person know that you saw it. Right. So I can see some of the crap people say and not have to respond and just act like I never even saw it. And you know, so that's good. But like for the men who think that the internet is the place for them to go to flirt with women, and this isn't a dating app, this is Twitter, this is the fantasy sites you write for. If you think that the things like that you're saying are going to get you anywhere with most women, you are completely wrong. If you have a family and you don't want to, and you don't even address the fact that not only did you disappoint all your fans and people that look up to you and all this other stuff, but like you have a wife and you have children. So like because I've actually had somebody come into my Facebook and do that kind of stuff.
Right.
Where they're married and they want to talk to me before I was married. And I'm like, why do you think that I mean, it's creepy.
Cool.
It just doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't feel right to know that this person, especially like on Facebook, that this person can see who my mutual friends are and if we have any, or where I am. And I know you can go in there and change your privacy settings, but Twitter is a whole new ballgame for me because I have that public and out to the open. It's not like Facebook where I have it private.
Now, jumping to, I mean, you're a woman in fantasy sports. Do you feel that you're maybe at a disadvantage sometimes in this business? Have you experienced anything like that? Or is everything just seemed kind of normal and
no, I think being a woman in this industry is actually an advantage. First and foremost, I mean, the pool, when people want to say Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, blah, 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 female rappers, they don't look at them as just rappers. And I think that a lot of people just, it's like, oh, cool.
That elevates.
But exactly. But then we get to come on, women get to come on with the men. So for every one woman, there's 3 guys on the podcast or whatever.
Wait, hold on. Kacey, what's the odds? For every one woman, there's like 100 dudes doing
there are. And that's, what, honestly, like my wife is a fan of fantasy football. She thinks I'm crazy for like how I am on Twitter. She doesn't even have a Twitter. And I think a lot of like women, I like to write about sports or talk about sports, but they don't go to Twitter and find the dynasty or the redraft or the whatever, hashtag, or find, the community that there is. Like if I was to go up to a random person who has no idea anything like this exists, that there's all these fantasy football websites, and just told them, oh yeah, I met up with a bunch of people from Twitter that I don't really know in real life. So I don't know. Most of my friends are like, whatever, when it comes to Twitter. And I think Twitter's been such a focal point in helping women with, getting involved with fantasy football, because that's another reason to have your DMs open. If there's a woman out there that I'm not following, or, and she wants to talk to me, then at least I've had that happen where people will come in and be like, and not even women, men too, who will be like, well, I want to write, I want to do, how did you get involved? How do you do this?
Yeah. Recently, Larry and I have been like, okay, let's bring in more of the women of fantasy football, because it's not that you guys, I wouldn't say, like Larry was asking, are you at a disadvantage? No, you're not at a disadvantage. But at the same time, okay, so of all the 4 of us that are on screen right now, none of us played any high level football. So, but there's still this
why are you judging
idea.
I was about to say, you don't know me.
Okay, well, I know Outhouse has it.
Do I need to get into a 3-point right now?
To be semi-athletic or not athletic at all. I'm 6 foot, $170, and all I do is run. Larry, I don't know. No, Larry, you didn't play football. And Kacey, I'm fairly certain you didn't play college football. So here we are.
I was hoping for that scholarship. It just never came through.
Yeah, yeah.
Happens.
So all these people that say, oh, you're a chick, you can't know anything about football. Okay. We're all dudes that don't know. We're all in the same boat. So I hate that response when I hear it. Like, I'll see it on Facebook posts and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, and there's still dudes out there that say stay in the kitchen or some bullshit like that. And it's like
insulting me.
Came from the kitchen.
Oh,
like,
I had a fantasy football team name that said "staying in the kitchen," and because there were guys in that league. See, and that's a problem too with guys in the leagues that you're in. Sometimes they don't want to be in a league with a woman, which is ridiculous and sexist.
Shoot, I brought my wife into one, and I think I was telling it during the Ryan McDowell show we had. I brought my wife in, and she beat me 3 years in a row in the regular season.
There you go. See that happen.
And I swear it was her choice to leave the league. I didn't kick her out.
You're like, okay, we're tired of you winning. It's time for somebody else.
So getting back to that Ryan McDowell show, we talked about our spouses and how their involvement in our lifestyle, how much they're involved in it. Kacey, how about you? How's your wife? You just said but earlier that she kind of is into it a little bit, or how's that go?
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I think that I got really hardcore in fantasy football as we were dating, not when we first started. I wasn't like I am now. So she had no clue what was coming. I didn't have any idea either. She's in our home league. So I have a league that I do every year with a bunch of women. It's all women, the fantasy league. So we do it in person. My heart is breaking this season because I want to do it in person, but that's another thing.
Yeah.
So it's all women, but every year, one or two don't want to be back in the league. They're like, it was fun, but I just don't have time. Or it was fun, but I've got, it's way too much stuff going on in my life right now to be able to focus on fantasy football. Cool. Well, I got my wife to join in a couple of years back, and she did pretty well last season. The season before, I think it was the season before, we were together playing each other to get into the championship game, and there was a stat correction that ended up happening.
Oh, no.
So I ended up going. She was supposed to, so she was like, "Yeah."
Nice.
It was like I'm pretty sure it was Alvin Kamara. It had something to do with the end of the game, or it was Zeke. One of those. I think it might have been the Zeke. Actually, I think there was a big whoa. So anyway, so it was like a 0.2 or something, like between the both of us, and it was just enough to. It was like a fumble or something. It was just enough to.
Nice.
So Outhouse, I mean, your wife is actually known as Mrs. Outhouse on Twitter, I believe. Is that her current handle?
Yes, that is the thing.
Does she need more followers? Does she need more followers?
How does she feel about Dynasty Outhouse?
Okay, so that's actually a multi-layered question. Let's start with how does Mrs. Outhouse feel about fantasy football? Fucking hates it. She hates everything to do with football. It's sort of similar to with you, Kacey. When I first got together with my wife, I mean, I've been with her since I was like 18. I was like a big hockey fan. I had nothing to do with football. I didn't really start liking football till like a year or two before we got married. And I was clearly not this into it when we did get married. So it didn't we were already locked together by the time this craziness happened. So yeah, she hates football with a passion. She is actually but still proud of all this shit I've put together with this, Dynasty Outhouse and Trade Addicts. Like, I think it's just like, oh, you've never actually done anything in your life and now you've done something, so good for you. Which I still don't understand why she went with the Mrs. Outhouse tag, because again, she hates fantasy football.
Yeah.
But there's this little part of her that's just like, okay, maybe I don't hate you, so I'll go along with you. But God, just don't talk to me about it and just try and let me not know it exists.
That's awesome. Now, how many this is Justin's first Scott Fishbowl. This is my second. Outhouse, how many have you been in?
This is my third.
This is your third. So Kacey, this is like your sixth?
That's my
sixth. Is
sixth.
that true? Sixth Scott Fishbowl?
I have a lot to show for it too. But yeah.
Well, there's only like 5 people that have much to show for it.
Yeah.
Have you gone with different strategies each year? You've gone with the same strategy? What was your best finish? What was your worst finish? I mean, let's see. I'd love to hear some of your Fishbowl history, being in so many.
Yeah, I gotta go. Actually, think back. So the first year I played, I only won 2 games in the regular season. It was really bad.
That was nice.
It was one of those situations where you're like, oh my gosh, if this is how Scott Fishbowl is, why do so many people want to be in it? I'm like, then I learned, hey, those rules, they're actually really important to read. Like, really to make sure you're drafting correctly and you don't end up with Joe Flacco as your number 1 quarterback. And so I mean, the fact that I actually won 2 games that season, I mean, those teams must have felt real bad about themselves losing to me.
Super
I think my best season probably. So you look back, like when playing against like 400 and however many guys and women, and see, there's another word that guy is saying. But anyway, people in general, to where it is now, where it's like crazy amount of people that are playing and just being signed up for it. There's so many, like you have such a hard, more difficult time getting into Scott Fishbowl than you did back in the day when there were only a handful of people that made it in. I got in with rating and subscribing. So that was pretty cool. I was a fan for most of the time I've been. Like, I think I've been an analyst for 2 years, maybe. At middle of 1 year, I changed into an analyst and not a fan anymore. But like being a fan who was able to get in it multiple times, that's like something to look forward to if you're a fan, like to see that I was able to do that. And then, I mean, I met so many people through the Scott Fishbowl that now I write for a site. I have a podcast. I get to talk to guys like you about dope stuff that I, and never in a million years be able to talk to anybody else about, because our wives and family and everything, they don't want to hear things.
Yeah.
So
my wife says obsession. I say passion.
Yeah.
I stick with obsession.
That's why I'm in the basement right now.
Yeah. My wife says you have a podcast on a Saturday night. You're going back to like the office on Monday. Why are you? I get to hang out with my friends.
There was a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not my fault that nature decided to be a dick. It was, so. But yeah, Scott Fishbowl. Back to Scotty Fish. I think the last time, or the one time that I can remember, like hardcore being in Scott Fishbowl, being in the chats with the people that were actually in the same division with me. It was in Scott Fishbowl 7, and that's how I met Gabe Gearing. So Man Bun, another, so like I'm looking at that right now and seeing that I've been all over the place, and my strategies, I'm pretty sure they've been all over the place too. Like, so
right. This
is why I can't win, because I can't freaking find the right thing. Obviously, that's what happens when you can't win. So
the problem is, like, you'll be like, okay, well, that strategy last year worked. Let me try that, and Scott's changed the damn rules.
Change the rules.
That ain't gonna work.
You can't. Yeah, but this year I took 2 quarterbacks first. Like, boom, boom.
You went hardcore on the quarterback. Yeah.
We'll see if I'm overcompensating, but.
So, did you go wide receiver heavy again this year?
No, thankfully. I actually, it pained me. I didn't take a wide receiver until the 6th round.
Okay.
And I didn't even plan to, but it's just like Calvin Ridley was sitting there in the 6th. I'm like, how am I going to pass on Calvin Ridley in the 6th?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So that started the downfall of that. But I did draft Darius Geis, so that did not go well.
Yikes! There's a lot of people that are really upset about him right now. So
I mean, screw that guy. But I liked him as a talent, but.
Well, there was a really low floor and a really high ceiling, and he found the floor lower than what we thought.
I was about to say he found a floor we did not know was 3 floors lower than the floor we had picked.
Exactly. Yep.
It's like that movie, The Platform. I don't know if you guys know that.
I mean, instead of like hitting the floor, he rented a jackhammer and.
It was like one of those cartoons where like he keeps falling down through the floor, and there's like the outline of his body into the floors. Though going back to I never got into the SFB as a fan. Actually, my first 2 years of applying for 6 and 7, I did not get in, and then we started Trade Addicts in like March, and then I applied, and I'm like, all right, but you know what? I'm gonna put down analyst because I'm starting a podcast in like 3 weeks. I have the idea for it. So I put down analyst, and I somehow got in. But I tried for 2 years before I actually got in.
Yeah, I'm technically in as an analyst, even though I got in during the Fishbowl podathon, or as like, hey, a random drawing. So
Outhouse, did you catch our podathon appearance?
No.
No chance.
No. I didn't even go back and listen to it, but there's no way in hell I was catching that live.
No chance that Outhouse was going to be awake at 2:30, 3:30.
You can watch it again. Like, you can watch it again.
Yeah, that's what I had to do.
No, I won't give Sal and Kev the satisfaction of knowing that I went back and listened to their voices when I didn't have to.
Dude.
Well, it might be a rumor we're starting soon, so just keep an eye out.
Have any of you ever made a trade with Kevin Cotillo before?
I'm actually working on it right now.
Oh, really?
Is it an HQ1?
No, it's in one of Bosch's leagues. Welcome, Everything is Fine. He named it after The Good Place. To which I named my team the Dynasty Shirt House.
Oh, there you go. When was the last time you used an actual outhouse?
I mean, like legit outhouse, never. Porta potty, man, it's still been a few years for that.
Oh, you mean
I
like
don't-
an yeah, okay, outhouse.
Okay, well, so
Like
has
a
anyone
legitimate
else in
wooden
this room
structure
used-
with a hole in the ground?
Yeah.
I've never done that.
Has
But, like,
anyone else in this room used an outhouse?
Like an
No?
actual outhouse.
Yes,
I
an
don't think
actual
an
outhouse.
actual outhouse. No.
Never.
I bet. I mean,
Not a porta potty.
Justin probably. He lives in Mississippi, man. He
No,
probably.
no, it's not. Actually, I used it in Wyoming because I lived in Yellowstone, and at the top of mountains, they would have like an outhouse. So I'd be up at like 10,000 feet, and like, man, I got to use the restroom, and there's a literal outhouse. Now, Mississippi, we got.
You're on the mountains. There's bathroom all around you.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
You're staying
so-
Westford.
Look, when you want, there's a lot of places to do some things, but if you got an outhouse, you might as well just pick it
You
back.
might as well
Look,
use the outhouse.
that's why. I mean, yeah, outhouse. So outhouse, you're on top of a mountain.
Damn straight.
And you're there to
I'm
help.
telling you, you don't close the door on those ones. You
You
don't
can
close the
you're
door.
there.
You have the greatest
Protective.
view in the entire world with the door
Oh.
wide open. So there's an advantage up there. I'm just saying.
So-
Literally 11,000 feet. And just
But
hanging.
I mean, Porta John, a porta potty, whatever you want to
Mhm.
call it. I mean, I've been in a gazillion of those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big music festival guy, so I mean.
So
I guess
you've done a lot of different things
Outhouse.
besides. You've done a lot of things besides piss and shit in an outhouse, in a porta potty. If you've been to some music festivals, I'm just saying.
Probably, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I can't believe you did coke off of a porta potty toilet. That's disgusting.
Oh my God.
Seriously, Larry, you have a problem.
Outhouse, you've gotten some of those random like 1:30 in the morning jump on a podcast with Larry text, right? Or DM.
Oh my
whatever.
God. Yes, I have.
Wait, that's
So
a
how can
thing.
you not?
Oh
how
my!
can you not
I
believe?
laughed
Start
when he's
with-
like, "We've been scheduling for like months out," and I'm like, "Scheduling, dude? You DM me at any given time with just a link, and you don't say anything. That's not scheduling."
See,
things.
the thing is, I schedule stuff because it's so freaking fun to like talk to people and be like, "Yo, I'm scheduling you." Oh man, I feel so fancy.
Oh, listen, miss, I get celebrities on my podcast.
Hey.
I was on the fantasy timeline.
Oh, DAP Network.
Our compadres, yes,
Oh, just bomb.
and Josh Valentin and Super Duper Flex, and they were like, "All right, man, yeah, let's do this, yeah," and they were like, "All right, we can get you on." It's like 2-3 months, and I'm like, "What?" Like I had to like put it on my personal, I like write it on my calendar in my kitchen because it was so far
Oh, like,
out.
you're such an old man. Use Google Calendar or something.
I use a regular ass calendar too. So.
Oh man.
It's like that happens to me every
Graham
once in a while,
Rolls.
but it's just like people like you get when people are bored. Like you is when my calendar for Trade Addicts fills up because everyone's just like, "Hey, man, when you doing? Let's get on." I'm like, "All right, sure."
Sure.
Hey man, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Let's get on. Oh, okay. Well, next week's bad. Sure.
Yeah,
Hey man, what are you doing? Let's get.
vanilla,
Oh
man.
shit, man. 3 weeks. Okay. But yeah, I man, I don't even think I ever ask anyone to be on my pod anymore. Now it's just like when people ask me, I'm like, okay, okay, sure.
Right.
Yeah, man, it's
Well,
fun.
that's because you're so cool. That's what it is.
That's because I'm far too lazy and I don't have the balls to I don't have the balls to be like, hey man, you want to be on my pod? Because then if they say no, I may just start crying.
And see, that's the good thing about Larry. Larry has all the balls in the world. He'll message anybody. Hell, he's already messaged Denzel
That's
Mims.
like they're like with the DAP network, there's like an amount of again, like we're talking about the misogyny that we're using balls to be encouraged. But if there was a total level of chutzpah that were on a podcast network, Rocky from the Dynasty Junkies stole almost all of ours.
Oh, he just does.
They had the Dynasty Junkies had a podcast for like a week and a half, and he's DMing Scottfish, Ryan McDowell, just be like, "Hey, how about our JJ Zacharyson?" And I'm like, "Dude, I've been on for 2-something years, and I still,
Inspirational.
Yeah.
like I mean, every once in a while, I talk to some of these people, and I'm still too afraid to ask them to come
So
on my
wait a minute. Scorpions Outhouse.
Larry got Ryan on our show. I have no idea how the hell he pulled that off. I mean, I don't know what kind of fellatio he did in the background. or whatever.
Well,
That's a
easy
long
there,
time,
buddy.
but whatever
From
you gotta do,
Kentucky,
Larry.
that's talented.
Is that
Okay.
is that politically correct when you say fellatio?
I mean, that is actually literally the politically correct term.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. I mean, I could have said you gave him a BJ under the countertop, but whatever.
Oh my goodness!
You do what you got to do, man.
Hey, and there's Super Dupaflex right now.
There he is. Yeah, super duper flex. So Casey, have you ever DM'd an NFL
Nope.
player?
Have I ever DM'd an NFL player? Yeah, so a couple of them.
You see what happened?
so we got-
No,
we got someone else who is
guys. Let's
crazy
let
lyrics.
time out. Time out. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so here's a funny story. I'll get to the point, I promise. So Tom Everett Scott's in the Scott Fishbowl. You guys may or may not know him. He's an actor. Wasn't that thing you do? Yeah, he's a pretty dope dude. But anyway, he's a huge fantasy football fan, right? Like all he wants to do is talk about fantasy football. So I had messaged him and asked him if he wanted to come on our podcast, and he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And like he was like asking me about the Scott Fishbowl, how you should like look into the draft and the rules and everything, and so after he said yes, I was like, all right, well, let me try to ask a couple other people if they'll come on. So of course I go on Instagram where you can message whoever, and I'm like Austin Eckler, I saw you were talking fantasy. Eric Ebron, I saw you were talking fantasy. So I mean, of course they never responded, but it was a fun I'll shoot. These are people there's no way in heck I'll ever actually come in contact with them. If it was like, I don't know, I think I'd get more freaked out about asking I don't know, like some high fantasy football analyst. I'm not going to name one name because there's tons of them that are like, I think I'd be more nervous to meet them in real life than freaking Eric Ebron. So those are the people that I'm like, I don't know if I should ask them. But yeah, and I got blocked on Twitter too. I got blocked by Jonathan Stewart on Twitter for talking smack. I love to tell that story because he blocked me for, you know how they're like, everybody's like, don't at football players, don't on your fantasy, which you shouldn't. But I was giving my opinion, and I did not tag him at all, but he does a name search, and there you go. So people like that.
And imagine the work a man named Jonathan Stewart has to do to find him actually when searching a name. That's like one of the most generic names ever. But he went out of his way to name search and try and find people talking about him.
And then that's really funny with Twitter, because there'll be some like semi-popular people, semi-celebs that go over like who was it, Hoodie Allen or whatever, like this rapper kid that wants to get it. Like he searches his name.
That can't be real. That's a real person.
No, really.
Oh yes, his name's Hoodie Allen, and I said I don't know. I think I said he sucked or something, but I didn't like at him. And then he did a name search, and he was like, "Oh, remember when you said this about me?" Like 2 years after I posted it, I was like,
okay. No, I don't.
I don't. Hoodie Allen.
Oh, but that's a wonderful name. I just have to put that out there. That's fine.
I'm like way too old to even have a clue who this dude is.
Oh, I have no idea, but that's just.
He's just a white, like college frat rap kind of guy.
Has to be Jewish, right? Like no one else would name themselves after Woody Allen unless you're like a ridiculous Jew guy. But that's freaking brilliant to think to name a rapper after Woody Allen. Is just...
Yeah, I mean that's the only clever part of the whole shebang. But hey.
So I have a question for Outhouse, the Seattle Seahawks fan, Antonio Brown or Josh Gordon?
Oh, Josh Gordon, easily. Don't get me wrong. Who's a better football player? The answer is Antonio Brown. But
whoever says that, Josh Gordon.
I'm with Outhouse, but go ahead. Go ahead, Russ.
I mean, clearly Antonio Brown's the better football player just because he went years of being probably the best in the league, but still, let's face it, he's suspended regardless for at least 8 games, which I read can be made longer. And Josh Gordon, the reason he kept getting kicked out, it's not really illegal anymore.
Yeah.
And that dude is a beast of a human being. So imagine Josh Gordon on one side, DK Metcalf on the other. Oh my God. Like that's like I'm getting steamy thinking about it.
Did you just kick Tyler Lockett off of the damn Seahawks? What happened?
I mean,
here?
on two white end sets, maybe kind of. He's a slot guy.
I'm really disappointed in you, Russ.
I love Tyler Lockett, but he's a slot guy.
Those dang slot guys.
Seriously.
I don't know that Josh Gordon is kicking Tyler Lockett off the field. I'm just saying they just slide him out wide.
I mean, maybe not at first, but if
I'm really disappointed in you. I thought you had more love for Tyler Lockett.
I have a lot of love for Tyler Lockett, but the dude does well out of the slot. He's a slot receiver. Josh Gordon is a gigantic man who should play on the outside.
let's see. I have a question for everyone. What is the most obscure football jersey that you own that's almost borderline embarrassing that you own this player's jersey?
A Buffalo Bills Drew Bledsoe jersey.
That's not even embarrassing. That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie. That's not even
I like that.
It was, well, yeah, of course you do. And it's funny because I got it at like some like ridiculous, like Value City or something like really. It's not legit at all. But and it was on a clearance rack because God knows what team
It's
he was
not
on
even
at the
spelled
time.
right on the back. It's like missing.
But like,
out.
I just for some reason I saw it and I'm like, I need to own this. Like
It was on AliExpress.com and it took like 6 weeks to get to him. But yeah,
no, it was in a store. A store in New Jersey had a really weird, bad-looking Buffalo Bills Drew Bledsoe jersey, and I couldn't pass that up.
I think that's awesome.
Casey, you got anything worth bragging about?
Bragging about? No, I don't. So like all my jerseys are kind of just boring jerseys. They're cool. I mean, they're all Cowboys jerseys. So I mean, first of all,
they're all gross and obscure.
Most
and
of them, everyone hate the Cowboys, so they're probably all interesting to us.
Yeah, they're all very
embarrassing. A bunch of Romo jerseys.
Color. Which jerseys?
God. See, the problem is I don't like wearing blue, and I don't like wearing white.
I hate white.
Oh, so you don't like wearing Cowboys jerseys.
But I think I have more blue jerseys than I do white jerseys. But I think my favorite jersey is a white jersey. So
because of the player, or just because?
No, because of the way it looks. I don't know. It was a gift, and I like it.
You have the Romo jerseys. Who else you got from the Cowboys?
So I have a bunch of Romo jerseys. I have a Witten jersey that my wife bought me. I have a Travis Frederick jersey.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Retiree Travis Frederick.
I wish it fit. So soon, hopefully. So I have a Travis Frederick jersey. I was like, it was one that I had a custom order and all that stuff. But I was like, look, at the time, the only one they had was his old number, and he had changed his number, and I wanted the number that he had changed to, not his old number. I don't know I don't know. So I was like, you guys ever gonna have any? And they're like, Travis Frederick? No, we're not gonna have Travis.
Mel Kiper hated that pick, man. Mel Kiper was just like he was more pissed about that pick, and I was just like, they took a center. If they needed a center, what the fuck? It's the first round, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's only one jersey in my house, and it just so happens to be an Ezekiel Elliott Cowboys jersey, and it's not mine. So my wife is a very, very, very casual football fan, and she's a very, very, very casual Mississippi State fan, which is where Dak went to school. So Dak goes to the Cowboys, so she's that. And then her first season in fantasy football, she drafts Zeke, and so we called him Baby Daddy for 3 years. He was Baby Daddy. So we were going to a Falcons and at the new stadium, Falcons Cowboys, and Casey, if you remember that game, it was great. I'm a Falcons fan, by the way. It was great. But I wore a Falcons t-shirt, and she wore her jersey, and we rolled in there, and the Falcons sacked Dak 9 times or what? I literally think it was 9 times. And
it was probably one of those games where I was like, "Get Dak out of there! Boo, Dak! We need a new quarterback."
The left tackle was out. What's his name? And he was suspended, and it got ugly real quick. Really quick. So.
Well, I mean, I have a Stephen Hill jersey. That's my contribution to this conversation.
I was going to say, which ridiculous Jets player do you have?
Yeah, I have a Stephen Hill jersey.
And actually, there's probably like a half dozen jerseys that Larry has. It's just that's the worst.
I just want to wear it just to get it dirty. I just want to use it just so. I mean, I don't know. It's just I wore it to like when I used to work. Excuse me, I'm a stay-at-home dad. So I can just work when I want. So back when I used to work, they had like the jersey, the Super Bowl party at work where everyone wears their jersey, and I rocked my Stephen Hill jersey. He probably has a league already. People were just like, "What the fuck are you wearing a Stephen Hill jersey for?" I was like,
at least wear that to a Jets game where you could commiserate with people.
So Larry, Bill's in the chat saying that he has a Vilma Jets jersey, so you need to invite him up to the Meadowlands and take him to a game or something.
Yeah, man. Well, Bill's out in Detroit, so he's out in the Motor City. So Maybe
I don't know what he's doing with a Vilma Jets jersey, but okay. That's not exactly something that's
Phil,
hot.
you come to the Meadowlands. I will buy you a ticket to a Jets game.
Yeah, this season.
Yeah, I will buy you a cardboard cutout.
Like, it's gonna cost Outhouse like $20, so it's fine. It's a Jets.
Jets tickets are so cheap; it's wonderful.
Right. You're not going to the Giants game, so
so expensive.
Hold on. So we got to do the sponsor read. That's how we're a badass. We got the sponsor read, and I will do it unless Justin wants to do it.
Well, I don't even have the read, so you've got to do it. But I do have some.
I'll do it. Just hold it up to the camera.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Hold it there.
That'd be fun.
I'll read it. Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with Hotbox Batch hot sauce? Hotbox Gourmet Batch.
Just keep reading, man. Keep it going.
So here you go.
Get through it.
Larry takes his time with words. So.
Well, here it is. This is why I can edit it. So I enter. When we're doing live,
because I've got some stuff. That stuff is good, man. It's really good.
So, yeah, we'll get into it. So
yeah,
we got some Hotbox Gourmet small batch hot sauce delivered to me and Justin this week, and I made a grilled chicken sandwich, and I used the Hotbox batch, and it was delicious, and it had the perfect amount of heat. It was yummy. It had some good taste, nice afterburn, which is very important. So I want to tell you really quick, and then Justin maybe will get into his experience. This is quite possibly the most deliciously intense condiment on earth. Hotbox will make you forget what food is like without it. Satisfaction and addiction guaranteed.
Ooh.
Okay, so this stuff is legit good. It's legit good. Like not because I got a free bottle. I got the bottle on Friday last week, and I've had so much stuff going on at the house trying to sell it. So I get up Saturday morning. I'm working in the yard, getting some stuff done, and I finish that. I come inside. My wife has sausage, egg, and cheese biscuits set up, and I was like, "Well, let me try this new hot sauce." So I pull it out of the package, pull a little wrapper off, throw a little on there, take a bite. I'm like, "Oh, I need a lot more of this on there. Let's do this." That stuff was, and today I saw on Twitter, Bo is the guy who makes this, and he had said something about a bagel with, it was like a breakfast bagel or whatever. I had done the same thing with a breakfast biscuit. Guys, if you can get a hold of this stuff, and you can, I think it's, what's the discount we're offering with our?
Oh, I forgot about the best part. So when you go to hotboxbatch.com, and god dang it, it's hotboxbatch.com. And you enter in the code SPICY, you'll get 20% off your entire order.
Ooh.
Just from listening to this podcast. We do not promote the code. We only do it on the pod. It's the only time you get to hear it.
Yeah.
SPICY,
So
20% off your total order.
Yeah, put in SPICY on hotboxbatch.com and get you a bottle of that stuff, because I have not used it since, because I've been hustling my way around. I had to go out of town. But I guarantee tomorrow morning I'm gonna throw it on my eggs again. So.
I'll tell you what, too. I bought some wings today, and I was gonna grill them up, but it just didn't. The day did not unfold the way I wanted it to. I had a big lunch. My wife's friend from college came down with her 2 daughters from Binghamton, New York. So that's like a 3-hour drive down. Anyway, we ordered in, and I got, from the Westfield Diner Outhouse, I got a chicken parm sub with bacon, and it was delicious. And, it limited my dinner. I could not do the wings for dinner, and I was going to go all out Hotbox batch on the wings and give everyone so you'll have to wait for next week's episode when I give the actual wings review of the Hotbox batch.
Hold on. I just went to the site. And you guys need to hear this.
Go ahead.
Quite possibly the most delicious, intense condiment on planet Earth. And if Elon wants to send it into space, the universe.
Yes. That's right.
What is that? I would buy it based on that description alone.
Even the marketing is good. I'm just saying.
That is
already. Yeah,
I'm actually I'm in the Hunger Bowl, and Bo McBigtime is in my league, and he's the hot sauce. He's the hot box batch guy. I'm in this league with
And a
Shane and
barbecue rub.
Cal, by the way. Anyway, and Bo McBigtime. So yeah, man, hot box batch, baby. Let's get it. And it's good stuff. And next week we'll have a little deeper of a review for this hot sauce. But getting it back to the hot box batch, Scott Simpson actually, if you go to his page on Twitter, he eats an entire he cooked himself an order of hot box batch wings and eats them live on Twitter yesterday. So maybe we'll get him on the show soon.
Gotta put it out there. I don't know if I want to sit there and watch someone eat wings. I don't know if that's really my deal.
And if you know who Scott is, he's got that monstrous beard. And to watch a guy, try to like work his way through wings with the beard, man, holy shit, bro.
Oh my gosh, that is what you need to drop in someone's DMs. I can eat all these wings.
Yeah, man, you got to watch with one eye open for sure, man. That video. But
on that wonderful note, I need to call it a night, everybody.
All right, now, well, thank you for stopping by, my man.
Thanks for actually letting me come on one of these days.
Yes. We'll get you on proper at a later date, my man. But thank you for popping in, and we appreciate it. Dynasty Outhouse, everyone.
Deuces.
Yay.
Outhouse not in the house now.
Outhouse out.
Outhouse out.
Nice, dude. So, Kacey Kasem, you write for a Fighting Chance. What's the website?
I write for Fighting Chance Fantasy. So. And
you can find a lot of her articles there. There was one article in particular that caught my eye when I was going through. I was doing some pre-show, like preliminary research on the subject of when we were putting stuff together, and I was like, oh wow, cool. She wrote this awesome article about 5 XFL players that like might have a legit shot in the NFL. And I'm a PJ Walker guy. I mean, he was one of your guys that you had up there. Mm-hmm. There was 5 guys and a couple guys you may have heard of, but PJ Walker, quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, he lit it up in the XFL, and he's behind Teddy Two Gloves, who really was playing on a Super Bowl caliber team last year where he only had to hold the fort down. He's never really played any meaningful football in a number of years due to his, that knee injury he had.
And the fact that he's not very good, but yeah, go ahead.
That part too. But yeah, so, I mean, what do you think, man? You think PJ Walker has a shot of seeing the field this year? Perhaps. Anybody?
Yeah,
he's the direct backup.
Maybe. The thing is, okay, so I wrote that article like COVID-19 being like, oh wow, it's still here. It was right when the XFL was like deuces. Right. And I had a feeling that maybe. Yeah, right. And I had a feeling that maybe if the coronavirus was still around, there wasn't a vaccination or anything, then I mean these guys might have a shot, because they're gonna need bodies. Why not get bodies that have done it and just recently played football? So I mean, it's not like they haven't been, athletic and staying in shape and stuff. It's just like the luck of the draw. You're not good enough to be on an NFL roster, but now you might be. And some of them like probably are better than the guys in the NFL, right? So yeah, he's one of those guys. I think PJ Walker is that, like, if he was starting, I feel like he is starting quarterback quality. Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah. So, like, if you have him on your roster, like, if you were to even, like, pick him up in, like, a dynasty league or whatever, and you basically get him for nothing. I mean, you can get him for nothing, and you have him on your roster so that when whatever Teddy Bridgewater goes down, then, I mean, they can plug him in, and I don't think that they're going to look horrible. I think he'd put up nice stats if you were to actually have him in the game.
Right. I mean, I feel like out of all the guys you posted, Donald Parham, tight end of the Chargers.
That's my
You think
guy.
He's good.
I really like him. Well, the thing is, so I didn't really watch the XFL, but I mean, Dallas is the team he played on when he was in the XFL, and I would see highlights from him, and I would go back and record those games so I could watch him play, because that is like, when you think of tight end and you look at Donald Parham, he's what you think, he's what you want at your tight end position. So, I mean, there's a shot. I'm not saying that he's going to actually get to play, but I think he has a good shot. I mean, with the quality of tight ends that are in the league, I mean, where there's a group of them that are all the same, basically. I mean, he could just as, well be in that spot as well. Like, I see if he was to have a shot, I know he's had a shot in the past, but he looked good when he was playing with Dallas.
And Hunter Henry, Hunter Henry has shown that he really cannot stay healthy.
I was going to say, he's not exactly the picture of health there. So there's opportunity.
Yeah.
So, and, going back to the PJ Walker thing, from what I'm understanding, he's ahead of Will Greer, which is unfortunate because I have a few Will Greer shares. He was so cheap. But, I mean, with this whole COVID thing, who knows? He might end up starting a couple games. So it's a good call. And I think he's kind of been a hot name, kind of spicy. So just keep rolling with that.
I like it. So does Jordan Reed, we talked about tight ends just now. Does Jordan Reed have any value at all? Is he going to be a target monster for San Francisco?
Larry, how much have you been drinking? How much have you been drinking, Larry?
Brooklyn Summer Ale. It's yummy.
Is that like a high volume, high alcohol content beer?
It's 5 point something.
So you must have had a lot of them to think that Jordan Reed's going to be a high volume, high threat guy to George Kittle, right?
Fucking A, man. I don't know. Jordan Reed seems like a funny thing to bring up right now.
It's so sad. Jordan Reed is so talented, but it just he could never stay healthy, and I really don't. When I found out he was going to be back in the league, like that a team signed him. No, you don't need any more concussions. You just don't. Yeah.
Now, jumping back. Well, go ahead. Jumping back to the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Kacey, you have a story about, didn't Zeke Elliott snub you during some like appearance show or trade show or something where?
Yeah.
I want to hear about this.
Okay. Well, I was wondering because I feel like I don't know if people are tired of this story, but I still tell it because
I love it. I love it.
It's in my brain. Okay, so there was a fantasy football convention that went on in Dallas a couple of times. It was the one that Tony Romo's cousin was in charge of and all of that jazz. Woo. Anyway, we went to the conference and they had a bunch of guys there that you could get autographs from, but they didn't really tell you who you were waiting in line to get autographs from and things of that nature. Well, when they finally do tell you, there's already a line around the building, and it could be Johnny Manziel or it could be Zeke Elliott. Well, there was a line for Zeke Elliott that was like crazy around the building. You had to buy his own merch for him to sign. You could only get one item signed and all this other, it had to be this size by whatever. Cool. I'm not going to wait in that line. Whatever. I didn't wait in the line. No big deal. So later that night, I went to do a live draft with the Eat, Sleep Fantasy guys. Went to do that. We had rented out, or we had a little area that they had all just for us. And Zeke was at the same place that we were doing our live draft. And he was in there by him. It was him and like two of his friends or two of his whatevers. I don't know what they were to him. Maybe they were his friends. And they were all hanging out, getting a drink. I needed a drink. I went inside to get a drink. I see Zeke there. I'm like, I mean, what do? It's a player for the team that you root for. Of course you're going to be like, oh my God. So I was starstruck. And then I was like, starting to try to talk to him. I was like, hey, what's up? I'm a big Cowboys fan. And his friends were like, you got to go. And I was like, excuse me? And then Zeke's like, you got to go. And he was like yelling at me, right? I'm like, holy crap, Zeke Elliott's yelling at me, right? And it was after all this stuff had come out about him and, you know, the stuff that got him suspended and everything. So, like, I get they didn't want, like, women around or whatever in a weird, you know, in a bar setting or whatever. I guess that was the reason why. But anyway, the way he came about it was just, like, very off-putting. I just, like, I've never had somebody that's, like, that famous and stuff, like, for you to act like that. Like, I didn't come up to you and hound you about all kinds of stuff. I was just, you know, like, hey, what's up? I'm a Cowboys fan. And whoa, like, come on, bro. Really? You were charging people all this money to sign autographs. I'm not even asking you for an autograph. I'm just coming over here to tell you, you know, like, I appreciate you, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And maybe I had a couple of drinks in my system at that time too. So, you know, I take that. So I get a little bit more on edge. Like, yeah, you should have seen what Zeke Elliott was saying about me. Oh, man. He was like, let's box. I was like, no, not tonight. But, like, no. Right. So it was just like a really crappy situation. You know, when you meet somebody that you are a fan of or whatever, and then they turn out not to be the person you thought they were. Then
a little disappointing. Yeah,
it's pretty disappointing. And then you just got to sit back and just watch them on and cheer for them on TV, even though they're not the greatest person in the world.
That's unfortunate, because I sent my wife this YouTube link about 5 minutes ago because she said, "You got a woman on?" I was like, "Yeah, we got a woman." So you might be watching this now, and you might have broken your heart about Zeke.
I mean, it was a situational thing too. I mean, and that was back in the time period where he didn't grow up yet. Like, he hadn't got his. I mean, I'm not saying he has now, but
he wasn't yanking shirts down in parades.
See, I think that had just happened like a couple months before or whatever too. Right. So, like, I had people from the local Dallas media reach out to me, like guys that are on the radio here, like The Fan and all that stuff, and had them either reach out to me and be like, "I'm sorry to hear about your situation. I've heard that has been a situation he's done to other people too. You're not the only one," or, you know, this is a stressful time for him, so, you know, it's kind of like, just brush it off. It's no big deal.
It may be understandable. Like,
you know,
and he's out with his boys, and he might get you might have been the 100th person to approach him at that point.
And so I get that, and I totally get that, but it's
still frustrating as a fan.
It still is frustrating as a fan, because it's like, okay, if you there, it was super crowded, you couldn't hear me, I tapped you on the shoulder, I grabbed my phone out and, like, try to take a selfie with you real quick. I get that. I'm up there getting a drink, trying to make conversation, and at the same time kind of internally freaking out, because here's a guy that I see on TV, that I see when I go to games, that is the face of the Dallas Cowboys, and then, like, whoa, like, I think that liquid courage got me to even, like, talk to him.
So you're clearly a big Romo supporter. What is how are you on Dak? Where are you on with this all nonsense with Dak? Where are you at with him?
With Dak? No, so Dak Prescott. So when he took over for Tony Romo, it was like my heart broke into a million pieces. So I was like, no, Tony isn't done. He's great. I can't believe they're doing this. I can't believe they treat him like that. So I didn't like Dak for like a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? He's helping this team. He's a good guy. It's not his fault that, you know, Tony Romo, that this happened.
Should Romo have come in that playoff game, like halftime?
I don't know if it really would.
I mean, I don't know. Just like a spark. I mean, Dak wasn't really. I don't know. Romo came in that garbage.
It would have been interesting.
Just like when he came in that garbage game that season.
Yeah.
He was just like bam, 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 touchdown. All right, ran off the field. That was it.
And if he would. And he probably liked that a lot. He's like, see, I still have it. You guys are over here. But anyway, I think that if he did come in during that playoff game, I think, I don't know how things would have changed for the future. You know, I don't know if they would have been like, oh, you know, let's do what we can to keep this man, you know, happy.
Right. So you like where the Cowboys are at right now? I mean, do they need to sign Dak? Is this going to be a Kirk Cousins situation?
Yeah. I hope it's not a Kirk Cousins situation, although I was really happy when Kirk Cousins left Washington, because I really like Kirk Cousins, and it made me hurt as a Cowboys fan to like.
Yeah.
So I was like, but yeah, with him, I mean, I really hope that doesn't happen. I think that they can make him happy. I think that weapons that he has around him, the people that he has on the team with him, they have so much chemistry. And there's so money. I really want him. I know the whole contract thing is like what's going on every day. It's something, you hear this, that, and the other thing about Dak Prescott. It finally started dying down now because of all the stuff that had happened. But we've lived through the period of time between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo, where there was baseball player quarterbacks and guys who couldn't stay clean and guys who did this and guys who did that. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to have to cross my fingers.
So who's your favorite a dynasty asset on Dallas right now?
My favorite dynasty asset on Dallas is probably Michael Gallup, in my opinion.
My girl.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can get down with that.
Nice.
Yeah. So
For the value especially.
Yeah, that's
Cool.
exactly it. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed there, but like they've been able to do it in the past. Have multiple guys with 1,000+ yard seasons. I mean, he's had 1,000+ yard seasons. It's not, they're adding in CeeDee Lamb and Blake Jarwin's getting all the hype right now in the fantasy community.
Right.
Zeke's obviously a fantasy asset you want to have. Even Pollard has value too, because he's talented on his own accord. But with Michael Gallup, I just think that he's going to do well with the Cowboys. If he was to play for another team, I think his opportunities would even skyrocket more than they already are. He's one of those guys I just feel safe with. I don't think that he's going to ball out every game, but I just feel safe having him on my roster.
So you think the future is Gallup, Lamb, and Cooper is just he's just a journeyman? He'll be a journeyman at some point eventually.
Yeah, I like Amari Cooper a whole lot. Like, Amari Cooper is obviously a talented wide receiver, athletic, a great target for Dak. But at the same time, there's been games where he's fallen off too. And those guys, all the wide receivers are talented. So look at it from a money standpoint. Look at it from Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb are both these young guys that are over here. I'm not saying that Amari Cooper's not but I think he will work well in another team as well. I think they'll be able to get something for him. I think that I know his contract situation. I know that they threw, they were like money. So we have to wait a while, but I'd like to see Gallup and Lamb be the 1A, 1B.
Nice, my man. I just want points. I'm not a big Dallas. Clearly, I'm not. You either love the Cowboys or you hate them. I'm a Giants hater, and Dallas. I'm like blob on Dallas. So I have Lamb. I have I have Zeke in one of my oldest dynasty leagues. I have Zeke. Have you traded Zeke anywhere? When is it? When are you going to start trading Zeke? Is now the time, or next season, or was it last season, or?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think I have any Zeke anymore. So
wow,
that's probably.
Apparently it was last year.
Yeah. I think it might have been last year. I don't exactly know what I traded for. God, my brain cannot focus on fantasy leagues right now. Like, what players I have where. Like, I don't know what's going on with my brain. I'm getting them all mixed up, but I don't think I have any Zeke anywhere anymore. But I know that I did have him at one point in at least 2 leagues.
Nice.
Casey, how many leagues are you in?
Good question.
I'm not in a crazy number. It's probably like 7, I would think. I think I counted it the other day, like 7 or 8.
You're primarily redraft, and dynasty is you're still getting into dynasty. What's the is it?
The ratio.
I actually think I'm only in I think my home league's the only redraft league I'm going to be in. Besides, I think the Fighting Chance Fantasy League we're going to do is going to be redraft as well. But Scotfish and stuff like that. So stuff that you already know is going to be, but the stuff that I'm set in stone, I'm always in this league. Most of them are dynasty leagues now. I've gotten in with. I'm in a couple with Russ, one of the Trade Addicts leagues. And I've only been doing Dynasty for a couple of years, so most of my rosters are kind of blah, just because I was still getting the hang of it.
I understand you.
I was in a
I feel
John
your
Bosch
pain.
league, but I had to peace out because my brain just couldn't compute too much.
It didn't
That's
click for
awful.
me. Yeah, I got my first Dynasty League in 2014, and it didn't click for me until like 2 or 3 years later. And then I was like, okay. Then it just like I hit this groove, and I like, okay, now I learned how to wheel and deal, and it's all about trading and gaining assets and player value, and it's so important. Like you have to have a mindset. It's a different mindset.
It is
than redraft. And that's what it's become now. Redraft leagues for me, like I have my set in stone home league redraft and like 2 or 3 redrafts that I'm committed to, and then I just do charity redraft stuff. Basically, at this point, like the Warrior Bowl and the Hunger Bowl and the Scott Bowl, the FF Down Under Bowl. So and then everything's Dynasty. So it's really awesome.
Yeah, I'm down to 3 redraft leagues, and 2 of them are affiliated with the Buffalo Wild Wings that I work with. So it's like, all my regulars are in it. In fact, one of my regulars and I, we run our drafts back-to-back Saturday and Sunday every year. And we use we project it on the big screen and all. So we always talk about, okay, when are we going to do our draft? And he texted me the other day, said, we still doing fantasy? I was like, look, we're going to pretend like everything's good until it's not. So we scheduled our drafts and set the dates or whatever, and had to push it back a week later. Usually we do it a week and a half before the season, but we're doing it the weekend before because of my house closing stuff. And I was like, all right, let's rock and roll, And one of my regulars was sitting at the bar, and she was like, are we doing fantasy this year? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. We're in. So
nice.
We're just gonna run it like everything's normal. And I told the other guy that commissions the other league, I said, I'll put some bylaws together that will kind of run through some scenarios, and we'll see what happens. But redraft is crazy. I think it's going to be easier to run dynasty leagues through this season than it will redraft, because at least you can continue having fun through. I hate to know what happens if something if the season gets canceled in week 4 and you just refund money. It's over.
Yeah.
So.
I know, but the league that I commish is the home league that we do with the all women league. And when we were on our podcast last week, we were talking about, have you come up with bylaws and things for the season? Have you done this? I'm like, I haven't done anything but ask everybody if they're still cool with like, which way do you want to do it? Since we're not going to do it in person, like, how do you want to do it? Do you want to do it via, video chat? Do you want to just get on the app and draft that way? How do you guys want to do it? But like, I don't want to. I don't know why it's giving me so much anxiety, but I'm like, I don't want to. It's just like a fun redraft league, so it shouldn't be this like chaotic for me.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
just draft running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just keep going, running back. Oh, it's round 7, still another running back. I did that a couple years ago. I drafted in the 7 of the first nine rounds. I drafted running backs in a redraft. Yeah. It was like I kept turning around and it was like, oh, that's a good running back, and I get receiver later. So
speaking of running backs, I mean, look at this trade that Bill McCarthy just made here. I posted up top here. He just traded Mixon for Sutton and Gallup. Where do you guys land on that?
Go ahead, Kate. I got thoughts.
I mean,
Sutton and Gallup, they are insanely talented, and they are so stable on your team. And Mixon is a great running back, but he's not one of those guys that ever gets really put in that contention, like at the top consensus rankings. I don't. This is one that I might have to like look at for a while, because I like both of those. I guess it depends on my running back situation, because I like both of those wide receivers a ton. You're probably improving your wide receivers by a lot, getting those guys.
Well, why don't we look at the guy that made this trade right now? Holy moly! Here's Bill McCarthy.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Let's hear about this trade.
Hey, Kacey, do you know Super Duper Flex? Do you guys cross paths?
I've never actually spoken like via chat, via video chat or anything like that.
No, we're in one league together that we started this off season. Russ's hidden Trade Addicts League.
Oh yeah, because I wasn't supposed to be any more leagues, and he's like, "Well, this isn't another."
Right.
I was like, "Okay."
So you guys are in a league together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did a startup this offseason. Yeah.
What? Now it's a Trade Addicts League, you said?
No, not this one. This one is like some of Russ's friends that wanted to like experience Dynasty and that had never really. I mean, they have, but, you know, get them.
So he's like, hey guys, come in here with these sharks I know that host podcasts.
Well, that's what we were saying. We're like, are you like? But then at the same time, I think there might be like, I don't know. I think those maybe Russ's like alter egos. So he's got a couple of teams going.
This sounds super weird. So,
Yeah.
so his friends were like, we don't know anything about Dynasty.
The porta potty.
And Phil and Kacey were like, hey, yeah, let's get a league together.
I'll take free money. Free money.
I don't know, because he was like, do you want to be in it? And I was like, I'm not going to be in any more leagues. But then I was like, damn it. It always happens, right? You just like,
oh yeah,
Outhouse asked, I'll go in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not in any leagues with Bill. I'm in eliminators with Bill, and I was in an eliminator with Kacey last year, but I'm not sure if I'm in any eliminators this year. I'm in a ton of eliminators, but I don't know. Kacey, you getting any eliminators this year?
Yeah, I'm in a couple eliminators this year. I got my own.
Oh, of course you do. Cool girl. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, cool like that. Yeah. No, I have that one, and then I think Liz Loza's I'm in. And there's a Trade Addicts one that I'm in.
I'm trying to get in touch with Liz Loza, and I can't.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hook me up or what?
I'm the Liz Loza whisperer.
I don't know.
Is your wife watching this, Kacey? You better watch yourself.
Yeah, right.
I can't get. Well, anyway,
I know, right?
I don't want to be. I don't want to be the creepy guy. So I'm just like, hey.
Have you?
There's some keywords you don't include, and you might be okay.
Look, don't Bobby Sylvester this, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Have you said anything to her at all? Like, hey.
Just don't use the word tease, right?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I have not reached out to her at all.
Super dope. Like.
I know she's super cool, but her DMs aren't open. So that's the only way I don't know how to.
I can't imagine why she has her DM closed.
Right.
Well, maybe I'll throw your name out there and see if she can get it connected.
We actually have something in common. We both were on this. We were just a few hours apart in the SFB Podathon.
Oh,
there you go.
Right. We are that.
I mean, you're essentially besties.
Right.
Yeah. She came on at 10 and we came on at 2:30. I think.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm sure she stuck around a while.
Hey, we should have. I'll tell you that.
She should have, seriously. She should have.
We're kindred spirits. Yeah.
Our appearance on the SFB Podathon. Come on, Justin. Was there anyone? There's nothing that was.
Was there anyone more sober than us? Maybe. Yes. A couple people
sober.
A couple people were more sober than us, but other than that.
Anyway, whatever. So wait, I don't know where we brought Bill on to talk about this trade, and I don't know.
Yeah.
So basically, this is a team that I'm kind of at the end of I might have to start a rebuild coming up, and I don't feel I don't feel like my team is going to really compete this year, and I'm not super high on Mixon. Just because, when I get to the point where there's a guy that if he busts in a year that his value drops significantly, I don't really want him on my team anymore. And I kind of feel like that's where Mixon's at. His value is a first round dynasty asset right now. And I mean, maybe I didn't get that getting these two guys, but I just feel like Sutton and Gallup are two young guys. I feel Gallup's probably a little undervalued, and maybe Sutton might be a little overvalued at the moment. So maybe they kind of counter each other a little bit, but I feel like I'm getting two younger wide receivers that are going to help me longer, going along with my rebuild. And, that was kind of my thought process. And the other thing was I saw on Twitter where he had made a tweet about, making the right decision coming up. And so I was a little worried that he might actually opt out this year. So that was a driver to make the move. But I mean, I don't hate the trade. I probably didn't get value, but
You make a good point because you talked about the context of your team. And that's always important when you're talking about a trade, because everyone when you put these trade polls on, a lot of people that post trade polls on Twitter will just give you the basics, and it's so much more than that. How many starters? Like, how light are you here?
What's the look like? Yeah.
Yeah. What how big's the league? Is it a super flex? Is there a tight end premium? You need to know a lot of the intricacies that go into making a deal. So, but the trade polls are fun because they give you an idea of where, it just gives you another avenue to understand player value, and that's what we all strive to achieve.
Right.
So yeah. So when Bill started in with the background of the deal, like, that was right away. I was like, this is awesome. This is exactly what you want to hear in order to understand why you went with this deal, and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
My only issue with this is that I don't think you got the value. I mean, you're talking about a first rounder versus a fourth and a seventh or eighth or whatever. I think that in terms of like ADP value, it came a little short for me. Like, I would have rather had a little bit higher end. And I like Sutton. I don't like Drew Lock, so that kind of scares me. But I like Sutton fine, and I'm a big Gallup guy, especially for the value. But I feel like you're missing the premium asset that you should have gotten back from Mixon.
Yeah, that's legit. I mean, but at the same time, you're in a 12 team, or in this particular case, a 14 team league, so your options are a little bit more limited. I agree. As a whole, like, market wise, I probably didn't get what I should have. But you got 14 teams in this league. You got maybe 6 people that are looking for running backs, and you got 3 people that might have the assets to make a move and are willing to make the move. So it kind of, sometimes you just have to make the move that you can if your goal is to move the asset, and absolutely. I mean, but I agree. Like, I mean, I definitely could have in an open market done better and gotten maybe more of an elite player back, but
if it wasn't this year,
everything, like Bill's saying, and it's very specific to league. Every league is going to value players different. It's going to trade different. Some places you may be able to trade a stud for a truckload, like back to Brink's truck up. And other places, like, they get, people get stingy, and you just have to make the move you can. And I understand that. So
yeah,
I think maybe I might have waited. I think maybe I might have waited till Mixon was scoring points and Gallup is, mixed in with that group, and see what happens. And
that was
value. So
that was definitely the risk. Yeah. So that was kind of that whole tweet kind of pushed fast forward on me. So it's probably me freaking out slightly. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I better do
it. We don't know who's going to opt out and who's going to be. Now we do, of course, but at the time, a few days ago, you had no clue. So that's fair enough. Yeah.
Michael Gallup, is he going to be like the secret weapon this year? Like the sneaky
wide receiver too there.
He's entering his third year, right? Michael Gallup?
Yeah, third year. He's still a wide receiver
guy. He flashed last year. Like, it's not like it's not like he had a shitty season last year. He
had 1,100 yards.
I was going to say, he more than flashed.
Yeah, and if you're the wide receiver too, and you're doing that, like,
on the offense in the league.
And he kind of plays a different role than the other 2 wide receivers, right? Like, those 2 other guys both want to go into the slot at times, and he's always just kind of more of the outside receiver. So, like, he kind of has more of an established role. You know what I mean? Where those, like, Lamb and I think Amari are going to kind of be bouncing back and forth a little bit more. So, when they're doing two wide receiver sets, he's probably going to be on the field.
Now, didn't he miss time last year too?
Yeah,
I think a couple games.
And he had 1,100 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just even, I mean, it's crazy.
He out-targeted Amari, I think, on a per-game basis, if I remember correctly.
Amari had those disappearing acts.
Disappearing, yeah.
I mean, you want to rip your hair out.
I mean, and to be fair, like, I mean, Gallup had a huge game the last game of the season, so yeah. So I mean, that kind of like propped up his stats at the end of the season. I think he had like a 30-point week or something like that for the last week, week 17. So
yeah, man. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm a big Sutton guy. And I mean, Mixon before the season, I mean, in the off season, Mixon was supposed to be. Oh, this is his year, man. This is the year that they're getting that offensive lineman back, and they've never had a quarterback like this. The wide receivers are dope, and now all of a sudden Mixon is about to take off, and then now it's all this BS, and now and there was always the threat of the holdout too, right? There's always that holdout threat, and I don't know. I traded 3 first-round picks for Mixon.
Well, damn.
That was way back in like January, wasn't it? Though
That was in January. Yeah, that was 3 first-round picks, but they were basically 3 second-round picks because it was a 16-team league.
Oh, okay.
Well, HQ1. Shane will be happy with that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The
So
one that my co-host is in?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you want to hear a couple trades that just went down in the last week in that league?
Yeah.
A 16-team league, 16-team, and we're running late. I feel like it's Saturday night. I mean, Kacey, do you have to go, or you okay hanging?
I can hang probably for a couple. Well, we have our friends coming over. She just got into town, so
all right, well,
it's all good.
Let know when you gotta leave.
You just start freestyling, and then just let them hang out in the background.
Yeah, see,
Right.
exactly. My wife's down there. She can entertain.
Oh, no. Listen, if you got somewhere to go, that's totally cool, man.
No. I can stay on for a little bit longer. Probably give me, a little.
I'll trim this down. I mean, this is going to get trimmed down to an hour.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
that's how I feel like no one wants to hear more when it comes to a podcast. I've seen this. I've seen the polls, and folks tend to want to be into like 1 hour. So I try to trim it. We had Swags on last week, and we like looked up and we're like, holy shit, we're approaching 2 hours just from like a regular conversation.
Yeah.
So it was a Swags-a-thon. So
All right, so tell us about these trades, Larry.
all right, so let's talk about this 16-team Dynasty Trades HQ. 16-team tight end premium Superflex. Running chalk gave up a 2021 third-round pick. He gave up 2 2021 third-round picks for Royce Freeman. What do you think about that? Now, is Royce Freeman worth 2 third-round picks in a 10-team league? Let alone a 16-team league.
Well, a 16-team league would cost less, right? So, because that's basically like almost like
Fourths.
that's almost like fourths. Yeah.
Mhm.
You're talking about the 30th.
Yeah, 33rd at best.
So
33rd at best. Right. Exactly.
So 2 picks in the 30s. You're getting 2 picks in the 30s if you're lucky.
Right.
For Royce Freeman.
I mean, in a 16-team league, you're getting a third string running back, essentially.
Are you that out on Royce Freeman is the question, really?
Right. I am. I'm in a startup right now, and we're in the 20th round, and he hasn't been taken. So, I mean, I don't know if that says anything, but
Yeah.
So Kacey, what about you? Is Royce Freeman worth 2 picks in the 30th in the 30 to 30?
33 to 40, probably 45, whatever.
Okay. I'm doing that math all wrong.
Well, it could be anywhere from 33 to 48.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm off of him too. I don't want that. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't think he's worth. No.
And then
I'm running chalk. So I'm running chalk, and I traded for Freeman. So because honestly, like once I get into the basically 4th rounders, I could care less. And all I'm hoping is that this former, dynasty 1st round pick is going to get an opportunity somewhere.
Sure.
Melvin Gordon gets hurt again, and he's an RB2. And in the same role he was last year, and he's worth way more than a couple late 3rd, early 4th.
I thought this was a steal for you. We're not talking about big time assets, but
no, clearly not. Yeah,
but Royce Freeman in a 16-team league is at least a 2nd round pick, straight up 2nd round pick.
That's what I'm thinking. I've been doing this, and I commented to you the other day. I sent a little message and said, the Ronald Jones trade that I did is looking a little better because he's getting that hype. All it really takes is one injury from Freeman. From Lindsey or Gordon, and all of a sudden he's a 175 touch guy again. and he gets those 175 touches, I'm going to get an early second from him probably.
Or he gets cut, and all of a sudden Washington signs him. There's just
Oh my God.
there are other avenues.
Don't make me walk away from this computer right now and go grab a bottle. I'm just saying.
That's a great question. So, and we also had another trade. Our former compadre Gregel 17 gave up J.K. Dobbins, a 2021 round 2 pick, Dobbins, and a second round pick for Jonathan Taylor. What do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that.
Mid-round pick, so it's like a 25th overall. So you're getting Dobbins and say the 25th overall pick for Jonathan Taylor.
It sounds really even to me.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
you're really just paying the juice to get the guy you prefer. If you want Taylor, so.
Yep.
I like that. I like that trade. I think that's a great trade.
That's a good trade. I like that.
I'm okay with both of those guys. So yeah, those are our 2 trades in our 16-team Trades HQ League. I don't know. Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss?
I think I'm gonna have to go and make some trades now.
I'm not in any 16-team leagues, or 16. No. Yeah, it's kind of hard to understand the dynamic. You know what I mean? Like the depth, like how many roster spots you have, like that. There's those kind of things for like that Freeman move. You know what I mean? Like, is that the one that's got like 40 roster spots?
Yes, it is literally like 40 or 45 roster spots.
Getting somebody even the quality of Freeman is probably worth it just for that trade. Then,
that's how we're calling out the trade polls. See how you need all this information.
Information matters. So I think it's like 30 spots plus 10. I'm going blank here. You can delete this. Plus
Debbie,
10 taxi squads, and then 5 IRs or something like that.
Oh man!
So you have literally like 45 spots. Like the people that are on roster, their practice squad. Anybody that has a pulse is on a roster. I mean, it's absurd. If they are rostered on a taxi squad, they're on somebody's roster.
Jeez,
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, practice squads. It's just. Yeah. It's absurd. You're looking to the waiver wire and you're like, who the hell? I mean, Sipes, Mike, FF Blitz, he spent like $900-something on Darren Waller last year before the season started. And no one criticized him one bit and this is before, just because there was going to be nothing else on the waiver wire. And when he did it, it was like, wow, okay, yeah, okay. And it paid off for him.
Yeah,
he
sure did.
Shit, but it paid off for him.
Right. All right, man. So we wrap things up here. Maybe Casey's got to leave. I got nowhere to go, so I'm happy to keep it going. But I'm happy to wrap things up, for the show, and then we could do our fake Patreon show if you want.
There you go.
Right? Yeah. If we had a Patreon, yeah. Right.
Yes.
So
anyway, so how about this? Ready? Thanks for tuning in to the Dynasty Outhouse Podcast.